Hello and welcome to another chart lesson update from Oliver Velez, sponsored by iFundTraders.com. My name is Oliver Velez, and we are going to take a quick look at Mankind, symbol MNKD. Now, Mankind holds a very special, dear place in my heart for a number of reasons. Number one, our cumulative gains in the stock are slightly better than 900%. And I am determined to turn this into 1,000% or better gain in the stock. That's reason number one. Reason number two is that this is the stock that kicked off my entire wealth program for the public a little bit more than a year ago. It also was the inaugural play on Facebook when I began to share most of my wealth-oriented plays for the general public using the Facebook medium. Now, we've had enormous success with the stock, and we've doubled our money many, many times over. Our lowest buy in the stock came in the low $2 area. My lowest three buy points came in the area of $2.17, $2.21, and $2.23. All right, since then the stock has rallied to over $12, went all the way back down to $5, from $5 back to over $11, all the way back to $6, and so forth and so on. And we've managed to masterfully play all the ebbs and flows in Mankind along the way. Now, a lot of people will look at the history of Mankind and say, well, Oliver, how is it possible that the Velez Opportunity Report or your wealth plays, which were reported on Facebook and other mediums, how can this play have gained 900% when I look at the chart and it's only gone up 200% or 300% or whatever the case is? Well, the key lies in the ability to play the ebbs and flows using my unique add and reduce methodology appropriately. So as an example, if Mankind moves from $2.20 to $4.50, that's a double. Then if it moves back from $4.50, where we've taken some profits off the table, and pulled back to $2.75, where we've put the shares back on, only for it to move from $2.75 or so all the way back up to $5, that's another double. All right, at which point we take profits from 5, it moves back to 3. From 3, it moves to 6, where we take profits from 6 back to 5. And so by adding on pullbacks very astutely and selling into rallies that move decently above the 20 key period moving average is how you effectively turn smaller moves into much larger moves. So here we find, right, that after taking some profits off the table in the mid $10 area, to be quite honest with you, you'll go back in the report and see that our profit taking area was in the mid $10 area. The stock now finds itself all the way back to the low $6 area last week, at which point we began another phase of accumulation. Now, this in truth was the first key sign after March's monster gap to the downside. This is the first key sign that buyers had begun to step into the play. Institutional buyers have begun to step into the play to begin their gradual building of their share size again. This was the second key sign, what I call marching little bull elephant bars. 3 marching green bars in a row are to be construed as one giant green bar. Imagine these 3 bars standing on top of each other. Right? And so in a sense, what you see here with 3 marching green bars, what you see is truly one giant green bar sliced and diced okay, as if, let's do it like this. As if to camouflage the power of the buy action here. So oftentimes, instead of the move occurring in one giant green bar, it'll be sliced and diced up into 3 consecutive green bars, which is really almost a sneaky way of going into the stock by institutions because they size up their buys over a 3-day period. But to the astute chart reader, that cannot be a reason to basically hide. Now, the first sign of institutional accumulation occurred here. The second sign of institutional accumulation occurred here. And now the footprints are starting to become even more evident by a very powerful move on Friday. All right. With this giant bull elephant bar on Friday, I began another period of aggressive share accumulations, which I believe will lead to potentially another double in mankind. Now, I will not be afraid of subsequent pullbacks from these levels. Even if we dip into the mid $5 area, I will continue to gradually add to my token share amount that I always will keep in mankind. My average price is below 0 at this particular point with a 900% cumulative gain in the stock. I will never sell my experimental lot in mankind. I will build around that experimental lot. On pullbacks, I will grow from that experimental lot to a sizable position. And on rallies, I will reduce that position all the way back to my experimental lot. But because my dollar cost average in that experimental lot is now well below 0, it should not be sold. It's basically playing with the market's money. My money has been pulled out of the play. And I believe mankind will be a part of my life, a part of my family for a very long time to come. Now, also keep in mind that gaps tend to eventually get filled. So this entire gap area is actually calling the stock to it. And I'm looking for eventually mankind to move back up to the $10 area, which would fill the vast majority of the gap experienced in March. Now, that may take some time, and let's hope it does take some time, because by the time that happens, I'd like to be decently involved in mankind again. I'd like to have had many opportunities to accumulate in different price areas below the gap, so that the move back into the gap area produces a nice fat gain for me. So stay tuned on this one. For those of you who have not been watching my activity with mankind, I believe you're in to a treat. I'm going to play this like a master. Until next time.